Recognize the gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Lucas, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Secretary Rollins, thank you for taking time to testify before the committee today and discuss the issues that are affecting our farmers back home. Last week, I chaired a subcommittee hearing to discuss voluntary conservation programs in the Farm Bill and the improvements Congress can make to ensure that these programs truly work for producers that they're intended to benefit. I heard from a variety of witnesses representing both producers and technical assistance providers, and they agreed with reinvesting the unobligated Inflation Reduction Act funds into the baseline of the Farm Bill without the climate sideboards is a necessary step to ensure that these programs reach more producers. To that end, Madam Secretary, I've heard from many of my producers back home that the Climate Smart Commodities grant process under the Biden administration was confusing and left little room for producer choice. Can you share with the committee what you're doing at USDA to revamp this program and to streamline the application process for producers?
Yes, sir. Thank you. That remains a top priority for us. We've already made announcements on how to make it easier, cleaner, and better, and to put our producers first. We've asked several applicants to reapply based on that as a priority and driving that forward. If you hear anything different, Congressman, please let us know. It's those anecdotes that help us get better. But yes, sir, we are solving for that every day at USDA.
It sounds like the Advancing Markets for Producers initiative is focused on making sure producers come first, and that USDA is a partner alongside producers rather than a dictator. Does that sound like an accurate assessment of what you and the department are attempting to do?
That is accurate. We've asked people to reapply if and when they have at least 65% of their application focused on producers.
In my remaining time, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for the Emergency Livestock Relief Program funds that went out the door last month. Oklahoma's experienced several severe fires in recent years that have impacted hundreds of producers across the state. And under the Biden administration, it took an average of 13 months for disaster funds to reach producers. However, Congress passed the American Relief Act of 2025 in December, and producers have received ELRP assistance in May. That's a significant improvement, and I know my constituents are grateful. Madam Secretary, have you received any immediate feedback on the rollout of these funds?
We have, we've been so grateful, realizing it's imperfect, but we've been so grateful at the response. And I just want to say, this morning at 6 a.m., I was on a conference call with the team talking about the next round of funds. 6 a.m. Last night at 10:30, I was on a call with a couple of other congressmen talking about it. We are so committed to working 20 hours a day, sometimes more, to ensure that this money moves quickly and as efficiently as possible. And I'm really proud of the team for being able to execute on that. And by the way, these are both politicals and careers, which I just want to lift up.
And I want to thank you for increasing funding to reimburse states for food safety inspections. Oklahoma administers top-notch food safety inspections, and I know my constituents back home view it as a great example of the federal government working in tandem with the state. Madam Secretary, what additional steps do you think Congress needs to take to ensure that state food inspection programs run smoothly and that the funds USDA released are, and of course the funds are greatly appreciated, but there is a role here in Congress to ensure the longevity of cooperative partnerships and state programs?
I think that it continues to be of paramount importance, especially as I mentioned in my opening remarks. I think as Ranking Member Craig mentioned, I think as Chairman Thompson mentioned, that food security is national security. And just last week, if you weren't tracking, we arrested someone that potentially had come in across the borders with some agro-terrorism products that could potentially have really disrupted our food supply. So the food safety inspection system specific to the states continues to be a priority. And again, anecdotally, if you see something different or have suggestions, please let me know. Top of the list for us.
And my last thought is thank you for the very aggressive approach on the screwworm flies.
Yeah.
Being a livestock producer in Oklahoma, not that far from your stomping grounds, we are really close to the problem right now.
We're really close. I'll be making a major announcement next week on the very next step, which will be probably more aggressive than anyone in recent history on the New World screwworm. And I think you and hopefully the entire committee will be very pleased.
And my constituents say thank you. Yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.